Hello, everyone. Welcome to our midsummer recording episode of Spooky AF. I'm your host, Suz, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Rob. Rob, what is the current temperature in the room you're sitting in?
Oh, it is damn hot. That's what the current temperature is. It is not good. It's 31 degrees, and this is only going to get worse because for, our dear listeners, I care about your audio quality, so I have turned off my fan, and it's not going to end well because my PC is just pumping heat out.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a comment like I'm already like sweating into the seat of my chair.
Oh, that's already happened. I'm wearing a white t-shirt. I don't know why I'm wearing a white t-shirt.
Ooh, you
I look like I clean cars.
Shaking that money maker ain't never made you a dime.
Look, gotta do what you gotta do, Yeah.
We do. We have to, okay, we need to, or at least maybe I do. I think you're giving the same energy I'm giving. We need to warn the listeners. Listeners, I hope you're here for a good time, not a long time, in the sense that we have both had unhinged work weeks. And so we are recording on a day we normally don't record on, at a time we normally don't record at, and we are given some frenetic energy.
Yeah,
Would you say that's correct?
I agree. I don't think we've ever recorded on a Friday evening before, but here we are.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're bringing that end of week energy that we don't usually have.
That end of week energy we normally keep to our Telegram
Yeah, it's
chat.
usually gone by Sunday morning when we usually record.
Which is saying something, because any frequent listener that we have, which it still blows my mind that we have those, is would know that we still bring a real weird energy even on a Sunday morning.
We do. We really do. And it's something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's something. And yeah, that's what we're here for, to just deliver some insanity.
Well, I saw something recently that said I'm a little worried that my springtime melancholia is turning into summertime hysteria, and I felt that.
That spoke to you on a level.
I felt that in my bum ovaries. I was like, my ovaries don't hold the potential for life; they hold the potential for
hysteria.
Hysteria. Yeah.
I have no notes on that, really.
I want to be an invalid Victorian wife this summer. I want to lie in bed and be taken to the seaside and gently dipped in the water, and then let to crawl into the wallpaper.
You want that to be your brat summer.
Oh my god, yes! I love that for me. So let's do what we normally do. I try to remember what we normally do. Okay, so let's update each other on things going on. So, Skipper's keep going. You're not there yet. No, not yet. We'll let you know. So we've updated on the temperature of the room. Yeah, so the weather in Ireland has been, delightful in the sense that we're getting sunshine and it's been warm. However, it's really humid and there's not really much of a good breeze, and so it feels super swampy.
It's not a good time. It's lovely, but it's also not and this is the problem that we have as Irish people, in that we love when it gets really, really warm, but there's also a fear of complaining about it because it'll be taken from us soon anyway.
Yes, but we are very uncomfortable because I know that if we have any American listeners, and any of our listeners know, I am originally from Texas, which it is way more hot there currently. However, the buildings here aren't built for heat; they're built to keep heat in because it's typically very shitty outside.
Ireland we just deal differently with these things. We deliver heat in a different way. Yeah. It's not good.
So we're not ready for this. I'm about to really dive into some poverty finance, but I really need my mom's swamp cooler on me, which tells you that we were too poor for air conditioning. So we had a swamp cooler.
Oh.
Sorry. So Rob loves it when I drop random Suz lore, and I always think he must already know this, but apparently he doesn't.
It doesn't even matter if I do know it. It's just the art of you dropping it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any lore updates. I mean, we were just talking in the realm of horror media, I did have an update. I really want to watch. Oh, I've been watching a lot of videos recently that are looking for the worst horror film ever made, and that's been
amazing.
Really fun.
Any recommendations so far?
So apparently Netflix did one, I think a couple of years ago. I think it's called There's Someone in the House, or There's Someone Inside the House, something like that.
Okay.
find it if you look for it. But apparently it makes absolutely no sense. But then I watched I think it was a Curtis Connor video or something that I was putting on while I was working, and it was on this film called Goblin, and it honestly looks like
I'm sold by the title alone. Like,
yes, whatever you're thinking, it's worse and weirder. And so I highly suggest either like tuning into that video or going and having a look at it yourself. But Rob, that actually, oh my god, I've segued into my topic for today. I didn't even mean to. It's amazing. So when I'm doing like really tedious admin work at work, I will put on like YouTube videos in the background.
Good, like a normal person. Yep.
And well, yeah, because I can't be left alone with my thoughts, Rob. I'm unwell.
I'm agreeing with you. Like, this is normal person shit.
Yeah. I don't trust people who raw dog their work day.
No, and like I can't get on board with that. It's the same with people who don't drink tea or coffee. There's just something about you that I don't trust.
Oh yeah. That's fundamental. It's one of those things that it's like you don't like people who don't like dogs or cats.
Yeah, pick a side at least. But if you tell me you don't like either,
yes,
that's worrying to me.
Yes. Or people who don't see, to me, I'm always like, if you don't have a thing you're really into, then I don't really trust you.
Yeah, well, the problem with me being a man in my 30s is I have multiple things that I'm very into at the moment, and it is a genuine problem.
But that's, okay, see, now that comes from the fact that we grew up in, like, when we were teenagers, it was the height of, like, oh my god, don't be cringe. And so we were like, tried to be forced into not liking things, because, like, not liking anything is cool. True. Like, liking it, and now we've all, like, double down into like, no, I am so far into like this very niche lore that I will never emerge.
Yeah, do you know what, you're completely spot on with that. My recent obsession recently has been watching videos of blacksmithing. I don't know why. Like,
why is that so you?
Yeah, and do you know what, you're not the first person to say that to me either. Those exact words.
Rob, are you gonna, I do worry sometimes that the next time I see you, you're gonna have like full forearm length like leather guards on.
Yeah, so I think this is the problem that I have with things that like hobbies that I get interested in, is that I'll have like a like a small interest in something, and then at some point I'll just go all in, and I end up going overboard then in how all in I go. And I have dropped this, I think on you particularly, Suz, a few times, where like the first thing that comes out of my mind is like coffee, for example, where I had a love of coffee and then it just turned into something that's unsustainable in the types of coffee I now buy and grinding my own beans and stuff like that. So maybe blacksmithing is my new coffee. I haven't...
Do you know that when we last stayed over at y'all's to watch your dog, I brought my own coffee, not because yours isn't good. It's because yours is so good, I felt bad about using it.
No, you use our coffee. That's what it's there for. It's communal.
I don't
the
know.
Communal coffee.
It comes in bags that I'm like, it's brands I've never heard of from roasteries.
Oh, don't you worry. My wife has banned me from buying expensive coffee. She's got a tight grip on those finances, so she basically audits everything that we purchase coffee-wise. So, you're all good.
That's true. What is my recent thing? I've been, oh god, I am like so neck deep into critical theory, particularly in the realm of existential philosophy, and I am like
you and I are
so
different. That's what I love about it. I'm like looking at videos of dudes heating up metal and hitting it with a hammer, and you're talking about existential philosophy.
Like, I'll turn to my husband and I'm like, are you ready to discuss Nietzsche today? He's like, oh god, I
no one ever is.
Because I'm like, we need to talk about Zarathustra, and he's like, oh god, okay. Have I had enough to eat? Have I been awake long enough? Like, but yeah, it's it's that, and I just started a replay on Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, very good. That's always a plus.
Yeah. I've started keeping a media journal whereby I'm like writing my philosophical thoughts, like I'm examining from different angles why I like the media that I like.
Damn, that is mad intellectual.
But I mean, it's not. All of this is just like it's not.
I'm like riling you up a little bit there.
Like I was like, oh girly pop.
That's actually a cool exercise, though. That actually sounds very interesting.
It's actually really fun, and I'm doing it in my Beetlejuice journal.
Classic
appropriate
move, right there.
So yeah.
You can give me your thoughts then on. I've recently watched from start to finish Severance.
Oh my god, no! You can't know. Okay, so we're only 2 episodes into this.
Oh no!
Yeah, you can't do this. No.
Okay, let's move on quickly. What are we talking about today, Suz?
Because I've heard the words Cold Harbor and I don't know what they mean, so don't tell me.
I have so much to talk about, so let's just move straight on.
Sorry, skippers, we're back. Rob, put a note in. Okay. So like I said, we're bringing a weird energy, and I was bringing a weird energy this week, and I didn't have a lot of time, so I decided to do what I would never have done as a student, and that's look at a white whale of a topic, look at a valid source for information, and then immediately go to Reddit.
Are you me?
I am given some real Rob energy.
I knew it would finally happen. It just took like uncomfortable heat on a Friday evening to do this.
You can't see me right now, but I'm actually sitting next to an anvil. Sorry, just on your blacksmithing. See, now I want to get you a leather apron for like Christmas, but then people are going to think that I'm enabling you to be Jack the Ripper. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so today we are discussing one of my favorite kind of mysteries that can kind of skew a bit spooky in the sense of like, why did it happen? I can't believe that it did happen. And I'm going to go in a conspiracy angle with it, is that we're talking about the DB Cooper hijacking.
Oh yes.
So strap in.
I have been so ready for this because Suz texted me earlier in the week and just went, "Have you talked about DB Cooper on a short episode?" I said no, and then she basically went, "Good."
Yeah. So we are not gonna spend a whole lot of time on like facts. We are gonna go with feelings and ideas. You don't come here for facts. And so essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk. My sources today include FBI.gov.
Okay, very good.
This goes all the way to the top. But then my other sources include IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Reddit, and a couple of dodgy other things that we're gonna talk about. So
amazing.
This is gonna be more of a conversation because we're gonna jump around
a
lot. But I'll start with So we're gonna start with the actual kind of factual history as presented by the FBI, because there was obviously an FBI case. So this is from their website. So I'm just going to kind of summarize. So based on the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, which you cannot convince me wasn't 29 years ago, a man calling himself Dan Cooper approached the counter at a Northwest Orient Airlines in Portland, Oregon. For those who are unfamiliar about America, that's on the West Coast. So he bought a one-way ticket to Seattle, and thus began, as they quote, one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in FBI history. So if you look at illustrations of DB Cooper, it's very kind of it's very Men in Black.
Yeah,
looking like if you told me that was what somebody said when they claimed to have like been encountered a Man in Black, like that, it's that.
Oh, 100%. It's the classic Man in Black look.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like he could have been one of the serial killers on, or one of the detectives on Mindhunter.
He does actually.
Like tell me he isn't on Mindhunter.
Yeah, you're right. He could be either or.
Yes, he's either Ed Kemper's best friend or the man who took him down. He's one. So anyway, he was a quiet guy. He appeared to be in his mid-40s, which means that in 1971, like, people looked a different age back then. Because it was like, they were full of lead and asbestos.
Time worked differently for people back then.
There were no girly pop skincare routines. There was no The Ordinary serum. People were raw dogging the polluted earth.
Yeah, in like just a fabulous way.
Oh yeah, no. So everybody was 30 or 60
pretty much
back then at any given moment. So he was wearing a full business suit, like black tie and white shirt, because this is back in the day when people would still dress up to go on flights, which always makes me think, did they think it was the last thing they'd ever do? But anyway, so he was in a full business suit. He ordered a drink at the bar, which was a bourbon and soda.
Nice. Classic man.
And then he waited for boarding. A short time after 3 on the plane, he handed the flight attendant, then called a stewardess, obviously, because it's the 70s. Yep. And because it's the 70s and a stewardess, I'm just imagining like Pan Am, they had to like get on a scale before the flight to make sure that they were like the okay
Yeah,
weight.
Of course, obviously. And if you aren't, you gotta go smoke some more cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes and take a dump.
Make yourself get sick. Be a real team player.
Yeah. Like Nancy, nobody's gonna want to look at you if you're 115
pounds. You are
pounds.
Disgusting.
Like, how dare you?
You look like Mambar Pig.
Anyway. You're the origination of Man Bear Pig. Sorry, I told you guys this is gonna be a weird one. Okay, so he handed the stewardess a note that said he had a bomb in the briefcase and that he wanted her to sit with him, which is
the ultimate chat-up lie.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, imagine dropping that to somebody on Tinder.
I got a bomb in these pants and I want you to sit down with me.
Oh, 100% somebody said
Absolutely.
That happens multiple times a day. So the flight attendant was reasonably stunned, and so she did as she was told. Also, this was the 70s, so she was like, man in a suit. He's authority.
Of course. Yeah, he's a trustworthy man, you know.
So the FBI notes that he had a cheap attaché case, which I'm kind of thinking,
that's throwing some shade there.
Like, I was like, racist. All right. Like, what would the kids say? Would they say, like, they ratioed his drip?
I don't know. I don't know.
Those are all terms. I don't know if I used them correctly.
Let's say you did.
Do we have any Gen Z?
We do actually. We actually do.
Oh God.
They are the lowest portion of our listeners, but we do have some.
Okay, well, shout out in the comments and Rob.
Yeah, our listeners. You'll actually be peek behind the curtain here. Our listeners, the majority of our listeners, kind of falls between millennials and Gen X. Yeah.
Really?
And that scales can tip one way or the other depending on the week or the month, where we could have like the majority Gen X listeners and then some months it'll slip back into millennials. So
Gen X sound off.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Gen X population...
Like, why are we appealing?
The Gen X population seems to be more Europe-based for some reason. And then the millennials are looking out for us, are coming in from the States. So, yeah, it's interesting.
It's because we give both. We give confusing vibes. We give both youthful and incredibly old.
Tired.
Not that Gen X is incredibly old at this point, but like we're just tired. We're just clearly tired.
Must be it.
I think my favorite thing I've ever heard about Gen X is that they were raised by a generation that had to be reminded to like ask where their children were every evening on the news.
I actually just kind of broke my brain a little bit.
Wait, y'all didn't?
No, we did. I've never thought about it that way before.
Oh, yeah, like my mom used to talk about it. She'd be like, yeah, growing up there was always a bit on the news that was like, it's 11 p.m. Where are your children? Yep. Which is hilarious because my mother made me text her every time I changed shops at the shopping mall.
Oh yeah, my mom was very similar to that, where you were doing anything, she needed constant communication to let her know that I was still alive. Yeah, moving to Vietnam was an interesting time because I literally had to send proof of life texts.
Yeah, but to be fair, I've heard some of your Vietnam stories. I would have asked for them too, those texts.
And that is for a different podcast.
Yes, sorry. Okay, sorry, we're back. They roasted him, cheap attaché case. We're back. We're locked in. So Cooper, he opened the case and there was like a mass of what she called like red colored sticks and wires.
Oh, so like classic bomb, like Looney Tunes style.
Well, that's my problem. That's what I'm thinking of. Is like that my image is like illustrated, so which is not correct. But anyway, he demanded that she write down what he told her, which I'm like, don't make her do admin. But anyway, so she took the note that she wrote, like that he dictated to her, to the captain of the plane, which demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. Which I'm just gonna guesstimate that $200,000 in 1971 was probably like $1 billion, or the cost of one shitty like Celtic Tiger flat. in a bad
that is
part
pretty
of
much the one or the other there.
Yeah. I just made a joke, like, for our non-Irish listeners, we're in the midst of a terrible housing crisis.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I checked for you, Suz, just so you're aware. Do you want to guess what it would be worth today?
Ooh, okay. $200,000 in 1971. Is it close to $1 million?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. What is it?
$1,587,481.
Oh, dang. Okay, so he's asking for substantial money.
Yeah, 1.5 million. He needs that walking around money.
Oh yeah, because that was back in the day when like a boomer could go get an after-school job and then pay for a house.
Yeah, or a night out would cost you basically nothing.
Yeah, a night out they'd pay you to drink. Especially if you were pregnant.
My dad frequently talks about nights out in the 70s. My dad is older, and he talks about nights out.
Your dad's a boomer.
Yeah, well, he's He was closer to pre-boomer. He's in there by a year.
Your dad's not that old. I met your
is,
dad. Oh, he's sprightly.
So he talks about nights out in the 70s when he was, in his 30s or late 20s, early 30s.
Oh, Jesus.
And he will talk about how like a night out for him cost like a tenner, and that was like fucking 20 pints of Guinness and a chipper and then a taxi home. And you'd still have change to buy cigarettes as well.
A tenner going out in Dublin in 2025 would barely get you a pint of cider. It will
literally get you a single pint of Guinness. Because depending if you're going in Dublin...
And you will be squeaking under.
It's like $7.50 for a pint of Guinness in Dublin.
Oh, yeah. I ordered a Orchard Thieves pint, like, this was probably last year at some point, and, because we never go out, and, and it cost me $8.95 at the pub we were at.
That's why I don't go out in Dublin. I live in the countryside now.
Well, and I asked, I was like, are the apples from Eden? Like, did you spike this?
Sorry, I didn't realize there was something serpentine about you.
Yeah, I'm like, am I about to damn humanity again? That sounds like I did it the first time.
At least bring me out to dinner before you fuck me.
Bring me out to dinner before I anger God again. Okay, so he's asking for a lot of money. So, but here's some. So you guys should have a look at the FBI website for this case because it has some really great pictures.
Oh yeah.
And so one of them is so Cooper was wearing a black JCPenney tie, which I don't know if you know what a JCPenney is.
Yeah, it's the thin tie, isn't it?
Well, like so no, like I mean, like
I know what a JCPenney is. Yeah,
have you ever heard of?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So it's like a department store, but not like a classy one, just like a kind of bog standard department. Like I would have gotten a lot of clothes from there generally. So so he removed. So it was a clip-on.
Oh, interesting.
Tie. Yeah. And it had a pearl kind of tie clip on it, which I would guess isn't real, but and they actually were able to get a DNA sample off this later.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that.
They also have, and we'll get to this later, they have pictures of the bills that were recovered after the incident.
I do know that. That is very interesting.
They're extremely tattered and some are burnt and things, but anyway, we'll get into it. So, the flight gets to Seattle. It lands, and the hijacker exchanged the flight's 36 passengers for the $200,000 and parachute. However, he demanded that several crew members stay on the plane, because, I don't know, maybe he needed another drink. And the plane took off again, and he ordered it to set a course for Mexico City. So, somewhere between, it says Seattle and Reno, which is in Nevada, a little after 8 p.m., Cooper does what seems inconceivable. He jumps out the back of the plane with a parachute and the ransom money.
Classic move.
So, the pilots land the plane safely, but Cooper had invariably disappeared into the night, and ultimately his fate remains unsolved, unknown to this day.
It's that era of these kind of hijackings and stuff that goes on that I really want him to have gotten away with this.
I mean, that's just because we're tired millennial anti-capitalists.
Yeah, it's the same with the guys who got out of Alcatraz. I know they're criminals. I know, but I really wish they did just get out.
In some ways, this is kind of a victimless crime.
I was going to say that. Thank you for being brave and saying it before me.
I'm sure it wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I take the mental health of the flight crew and the passengers and all that very seriously.
No, we all heard what you said.
Fuck off. So, you know what I mean? He didn't rob a lovely, hardworking couple at their homestead and mow down their family.
He didn't hurt anyone. He let people leave the plane, and then he just looked after himself. He noped out of there when he was ready.
For so many of these things, though, I do try and think of it happening in the current time that we're in, and I just keep thinking of him filming a POV TikTok as he's jumping.
Yeah, doing a peace sign before he jumps out.
And being only Sigmas.
With some really cringe captions over it while he's...
Yeah, a sped up version of a rap remix I've never heard.
And his broccoli haircut just flowing in the wind as he's jumping out of the plane.
Or if he's of a more kind of crunchy granola hipster bent, he could have a mullet with the shaved sides and a mustache.
Yeah, I do love a mullet, to be fair, so...
I do too. I am so for the mullet because I can't tell you how angry and upset upset I get at the years we have spent, at least here in Dublin, of seeing the Peaky Blinders haircut on everybody who identifies and wants to present as, like, masculine.
Yeah, well, what do you expect from Dublin?
Like, I'm sorry, Cillian Murphy barely pulled it off in Peaky Blinders, and he's Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
Like, you and your North Face jacket and matching gray tracksuit are not looking good. No. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, the mullet though. Do love it. I can't complain.
The mullet.
About the mullet.
I'm here. Oh no, I mean I'm from rednecks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm planning on going to the other land of rednecks in the future, which is Australia, and I'm genuinely toying with the thought of having a mullet for going there for the Rugby World Cup.
Well, you know what's funny, when you said the other land of mullets, my next thought was like, oh, like Alberta in Canada. That haircut can exist in many places.
Yeah, but you got to admit though that Australians bring a certain vibe, and I love it. Like everything about Australians, I'm a big fan.
I can get on board with the macas, but I can't get on board with calling flip-flops thongs.
No, that's my one line in the sand that I just can't. I can't vibe with that.
Yeah.
No. I'm glad we're in agreement there.
Oh, obviously. So the pilots land the plane safely.
Yeah.
We're back. Skippers, come back. Cooper, no idea what happened to him. So the FBI learned of the crime while it was happening, like in flight. And they opened an extensive investigation, and it lasted for decades. So they called it NORJAC, which stood for Northwest Hijacking. Hundreds of people were interviewed. There were tracked leads all over the United States. They scoured the aircraft for evidence, combed through everything again and again that they had. However, by 5 years after the incident, they said they've considered more than 800 suspects and had eliminated all but 24 from consideration.
That's some serious work.
Yeah, that's a lot of money poured into it. I wonder what it would have been like. No, I was gonna. Nope. Okay, I'll save the shade. Okay, we're going on. So, I'll let it go. They kind of named their favorite suspect, which is interesting on the site. They said it was Richard Floyd McCoy.
So they're just straight up naming this guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is just on the interwebs, guys. It's all just a series of tubes. They tracked down and arrested McCoy for a similar hijacking. So apparently he had done it again. That he had escaped by parachute, nonetheless. 5 months after the D.B. Cooper flight, but then he was ultimately ruled out because he didn't match the nearly identical physical descriptions of Cooper that the two flight attendants provided, and then they say mysteriously and for other reasons, and I'm like, ooh, well, what's that?
Dude had some serious pipe on him.
Yeah,
clearly that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, he had such big dick energy, they just couldn't take him down.
He was hanging some massive wang. they couldn't shoot him down.
They're like, how would we even process a tripod into?
To be fair, it was the 70s, and they would respect that. So that would be a viable way of keeping yourself out of prison. Be like, you're really going to keep this out of the public?
This is like a callback to the episode we did on sleep paralysis, but I just had this image of like somebody with penis legs.
Oh, Jesus.
Again. So sorry, everybody. Oh God, really sorry. We're back. So
they just let this guy go.
But then they were like, they let him go. And so, but then they started thinking, well, like, it's also likely that Cooper didn't survive the jump. He did jump from a plane during what I think was like quite tumultuous weather. The parachute that he used didn't have any kind of like steering capabilities. He was in a suit, so it's not like he was like dressed for a rough landing. And he had jumped into a wooded area at night.
I mean, stranger things have happened, you know.
Stranger things have happened, but at the same time, they were saying that it would have been, like, I think they probably spoke to professional jumpers, and they said, like, that would have been difficult even for them, and they've, got years of experience on them.
Fair enough.
So, and then this theory was given an added boost, they say, in 1980, when a young boy found a rotting package full of $20 bills, which roughly about 5,800 in all, that matched the ransom money serial numbers.
I love the picture of that as well. It's so funny. It's just this kid with the tattered money.
Yeah.
There's a total look of regret on his dad's eyes, clearly being like, why the fuck did we say that we found this?
Oh yeah, for sure. Did I ever tell you one time I was like, the night I used to take dance class on, I had a class and then like an hour break and then another class, so I was just allowed to stay in the studio with a couple other girls who had the same schedule, and we would just like do homework and chat and things. Well, we went out like outside of the dance studio at one point to get some air during the break, and we discovered a shallowly buried box full of handwritten checks from the last, like, 35 years, all made out to the same person and never cashed.
No, Suz, you haven't told me that before. I never know where you're going to go when you start a sentence with, did I ever tell you?
So yeah, we just found this box of like checks, and so we tried to. This must have been in the, I mean, at latest the very early 2000s, probably the late 90s though, and so we couldn't really like Google it or like try and do any kind of check. So we kind of brought it to the adults' attention, and they were like, oh, okay, that's weird. But it was in like this tatty old shoebox, and there were, I mean, it must have been hundreds. Like the shoebox was completely full of checks.
That is bringing some weird energy.
Yeah, and they were all made out for different reasons, and it would be like payment for something, like it'd be some random act or service or whatever. And anyway, we brought it to the adults. We never heard anything else about it.
That's so weird.
I just thought I'd bring it up. Yeah.
Very strange.
So yeah. Anyway, that was that time. So
No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. So we're gonna talk more about what the FBI thinks happened, and then we're gonna dive into
what really happened,
what the internet, really happened, and then we're gonna talk about some even weirder shit. So yeah. So the question begs, like, where did the DB come from in DB Cooper?
Yeah, I actually was gonna ask that because I noticed you said Dan Cooper, but didn't know Dan B. Cooper.
So, like other cases, famous crime cases, particularly those around like serial killers and stuff, this was apparently created by the press.
Really? So just like a mistake in publishing, or just they thought it sounded
not
better?
A mistake. I think they just thought it sounded good. It's like when they name a serial killer something, like they're like oh, you know, and instead of like a guy that cuts off everybody's foot, they're like, yes, the toe wrangler or something.
Classic serial killer name right there.
Once again, I'm speaking to our fetish audience, but yeah. So the FBI says they did question a man with the initials DB, but he wasn't the hijacker, and so like yeah, the press just kind of ran with it, and then it became the truth essentially by repetition.
That is so interesting.
Yep. Now I will say that there is an update to the case on the FBI site. This is from 2009, and one of the things that came up is people. Like the investigators think that maybe he got the name Dan Cooper from a comic book.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So there is actually I'll have to send you the picture, but there's like a comic book cover for someone named, a hero named Dan Cooper, and on the cover he is parachuting.
That's cool.
Like he is just like,
I love that.
Yeah. So
I love that for him.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. So yeah, I mean as you know, as recently as kind of like the 2000s, there have been updates and things. So anyway, now let's get on to what the internet thinks.
Phenomenal. Just before we do that, I've just done a quick temperature check for my room. It's 35 degrees.
Oh god. Okay, we're running out of time. I feel like I'm in.
I am slowly dying.
Like, yeah. Oh no. What about, we're in Saw 2.
Oh Jesus.
Like the neurotoxin is setting in, and I'm gonna have to like jump in a pit full of needles to get you out.
I'm glad that you did that for me. Thank you, sis.
I've got a high pain tolerance. It's fine. I've got a high pain tolerance and several tattoos. It's fine. And you know, I'm in a country now with that has public health care, so you know I can get antibiotics.
That is true.
It's fine.
We look out for people.
Now if we were in America, I would be committed to dying for you in that moment.
Thank you. That's lovely. That's good to know. I'll keep that in mind.
You're welcome. So I mean, we have been friends for almost 10 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, we're not that far off.
Right. I just looked at the calendar on my computer and I'm like, shit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So anyway, so theory 1. Okay, so I have to say, so this is coming from, and I didn't know this, but of course it exists. Because much like Rule 34, there's another rule that says, like, if it's a conspiracy or a weird case, there exists a subreddit for it, but there is an r/DB Cooper.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like, that sounds like entry-level Reddit, to be fair.
Yeah, and to be fair, I did find some, like, utterly delightful things on it, because it's not all just kind of theories. Somebody just posted, a couple of years ago, posted a picture of a t-shirt they just bought, and it says, DB Cooper's Skydiving School, Portland, Oregon. Love that.
I'm a big fan of that energy.
Yep. I'm like, I love a bit of merch. Also, I did see a t-shirt that had the illustration of DB Cooper, and it said, "Have you seen my dad?"
Oh, amazing.
I also thought that was funny.
Oh my god, I've just gone onto the subreddit here to just have a quick look. It is very active.
Yeah.
Like, there's people posting every single day. Yeah,
and it's fun stuff. It's, like, really interesting. But interestingly, they have a, I think they have kind of a moratorium on like certain types of conspiracies, and they usher them to r/conspiracy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I think they want to like just deal with the facts that are well known and are verifiable and all that. I think they don't want. Yeah. So I saw a post that was like, look, we're getting overrun with these weird ass conspiracy theories. Go put it on r/conspiracy, which is a place that I've been and I don't like. And like I like dip in and out because I'm like sometimes it's funny, but then sometimes
I feel like I'm that gatekeeper for you at the moment in that I find weird things on Reddit and send them to you.
Well, you also sent me a blingy today.
I did.
Millennials, like, shout out. Do y'all remember blingies?
And I won't apologize for that either.
No. So this theory, and I won't like read it verbatim, and I won't throw out the person's name because I don't know if they want that. This is from a couple of years ago, but their theory is that DB Cooper never jumped out of the plane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna walk you through this.
Please do.
So their theory is that some or all of the air crew is responsible for the hijacking.
Shit! So it's like a Murder on the Orient Express style.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
so it's pretty involved. So they think that they got a friend to like be Dan Cooper, essentially buy the ticket, and then an individual like got a second ticket in their own name, and that the friend boarded and pretended to hijack the plane by threatening the stewardess, who they think was in on the deal and on the job, and that once the money was on the plane, the person identified as DB Cooper got off the plane in Seattle with the rest of the passengers and the money. So that the plane took off, it flew until it was dark, and then the 4 remaining crew opened the rear door, tossed out the parachute and a bit of the money that the boy ended up finding in the 80s.
Damn.
And then like expecting it to be found as evidence that he had jumped and landed. So then his theory is that like, so everyone has spent the last 50 years, 70s,
30 plus years.
30 plus years looking for an individual that never really existed and wasn't on the plane when he was supposed to jump.
Oh my god, that is so firstly, for the edit, I'm gonna insert some Ocean's 11 style like heist music here while you're talking about this.
Yes.
I'm actually like speechless at the thought of this because it makes so much sense if that was to actually be what happened, because it's the 70s.
Yeah,
like, people don't have fucking CCTV everywhere.
No, and it's the 70s was definitely still in the era where if you picked up, moved to even like a nearby town and then completely changed your name and cut ties, you could just be
100%. You literally just do whatever you want at that point.
Yeah, like there's like China doesn't have your data from Facebook that you've been curating since 2004. Like,
yeah, it's you can just fucking do whatever you've basically got carte blanche to be a hijacker.
It does make me think of that brilliant Rick and Morty episode about heists, and it's like every time they like get somebody new in, they're like, Rick Sanchez, you son of a bitch, I'm in. Like, it's like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. And so I'm just thinking of like all these people. One
of the greatest I think scenes in film history is that fucking scene from Predator, which gave us that with the fucking handshake that shook the earth.
Yes. So his kind of, he goes on to like put in some like interesting details, because he was saying that like the blinds were closed on the plane on the ground, so no one could see in. None of the other passengers were aware that the plane was being hijacked, so he wouldn't have drawn attention. He could have easily taken off the sunglasses he was reported as wearing, and it could have changed his look. And that the authorities would never have checked the bags because the air crew said he was still on board.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this theory. Having only just heard it, I'm kind of sold.
To be fair, it is a fun theory and it's well thought out, but I do think that my first thought was what the top comment is, which is like essentially saying this requires an unreasonable number of people to be in on it. Because that's where conspiracy theories always fall down, is that you're like, well, this requires like multiples of people to like stay on story, not fold, not do anything stupid, which is like, that's why I'm like, yes, of course the moon landing was real, because like people aren't good at not telling people shit.
Also the fact that the Russians themselves came out and said it happened. The ones who themselves would gain from it not happening.
God, your conspiracy theory's stupid when when Russia's coming out and being like, no,
the very people who have a vested interest in it not being true.
Exactly. Like that's where it falls.
But you're saying it's only 4 people, isn't that what you said?
I think so, but then like it also you have to consider the time element though. That's 4 people, but it's over decades.
I still
like they never got drunk. I think it's fun, but I don't know. So that's that one.
I wonder where those people are now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, unfortunately, I imagine if they're in like their 40s or 1950s. They're probably dead.
Buried in some
Is that how
gold
math
casket
works?
or something.
A golden casket under. Oh my god, in the Black Pyramid. Free electricity.
It's the only thing that naturally absorbs all the energy.
I need to find. I'm gonna research this just because, like, the price of heating in Ireland is absolutely insane. If I could find a paranormal, supernatural source of free gas, like, I would be on that so bad. Like, oh my god. Like, yeah, I think it's great that the Black Pyramid can give us all free electricity, but I really need free heating in the winter.
That's fair. I appreciate that. That is fair.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So there's a really detailed one that I saw that, like, takes you through the whole thing, and it actually then goes through. This is on r/true crime discussion.
Okay.
Which, again, of course, exists.
Of course it does. Yeah. I'm thinking this is going to be less conspiracy theory laden, though.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's actually much
Grounded.
more kind of working with the known facts. And so it actually takes you through every individual, or at least the major suspects they had. And one of them I thought that was really interesting that I want to talk about was a suspect named, a well-known suspect that the FBI considered was Robert W. Rackstraw.
Great name.
Rackstraw,
Great name.
excuse me. Yeah, that's a great name. And he was one of the first real suspects because he met a lot of the points. He was from a military background. He had experience dealing with bombs and kind of explosive materials. He had a criminal record. His uncle was named John Cooper, and he was an experienced skydiver.
Wow.
He was, it says he was kicked out of, and again, I haven't fact-checked this, so I hope this is correct, but it seems legit. I don't know. He was expelled from the army months before the hijack, and when he was questioned, he neither confirmed nor denied being Dan Cooper, which I think that last one, I'm like, that's like the question they ask you when you go into the States, like, because they're asking you, like, I remember, they asked me the same question when I applied for my student visa in the UK. They were like, have you committed war crimes? And I'm like, well, who ticks yes? Like,
now's my time to shine.
Like, even if I had, like, I'm not gonna put yes. I'm not doing this application for shits and gigs. I want to get into the country. But anyway, if you look at his picture though, he does pretty strikingly resemble like a slightly young image of the illustration.
I'll have to look this up. Yeah.
So I just thought it was wild that he met those criteria, and then, like, he happens to have an uncle with the surname Cooper who was an experienced
Yeah, that
skydiver.
is definitely, maybe keep an eye on that guy.
Like, it wasn't him in the end, but, like, I do think that, like, I understand why they questioned it. And then I saw some people who were, I really wish I'll read off the name of the username of this individual when we get off the recording, because it's just great. But it's still not as good as my husband's username, which I've been told I'm not allowed to share because that breaks some kind of internet code.
Such a shame.
But this one's pretty good. So this person was looking into DB Cooper case for a class essay, and I'm like, damn, what class are you taking? What is the course? I need to do this. Will you let me do a DB Cooper course? Because I know we've talked about we're not allowed to let each other do another course while we're working
That's
full-time.
different though. Anything like from the paranormal university is totally fine.
Yeah. Is what you're writing about corporeal? No? Excellent. That's allowed.
My hypothesis is based more off a feeling.
Yeah, I have to let everyone know I am wearing my traditional, like what I normally wear to record, which is a t-shirt I have that Rob has seen now that is just, it's a light blue t-shirt covered in like the outline of ghosts.
It's a great t-shirt, to be fair.
making various faces. Yeah. It's a great t-shirt. It puts me in the vibe. So like this person asked for comments of like, who do they think DB Cooper's identity was?
Okay.
And, so let's just go through some of them. Like, so the most popular ones are like, look, he probably didn't survive the escape, so this person's asking, I wonder why there's so much focus on people who continue to be alive after the incident instead of people who were reported missing after and never turned up, which that seems fair. That seems fair. Yeah. Especially, I mean, it reminds me, because I did see, there's another comment that's like, well, if like they would have definitely found a body, and they haven't. And I'm like, do you know how many people that they are almost certain are dead and have never found a body? They haven't found some of like Ted Bundy's victims, and they know they're
very
dead.
True. Actually, that's a valid point.
Like, yeah. So I mean, that's not a sound argument, my friend.
Absolutely not.
And then this person, damn, another good username. Jesus, all right. They're convinced that I know I'm just like I'm just bearing the lead every time. So they're not convinced that any of the named suspects are actually the hijacker, but they have very strong opinions about one of the suspects, and that they think it might actually have been a woman.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, that to me just sounds a bit like when people who are way too inappropriately into Jack the Ripper are like, what if it was a woman?
True. That's fair, actually, yeah. That's a valid point, actually.
I mean, we don't need to bring, like, gender balance
To serial killing.
to stuff like this. Like, don't get me wrong, I love seeing women thrive in male-dominated industries, but, like, come on.
Serial killings and hijackings are, yeah.
Like, there are some females, there are some women.
Oh, totally. I just mean more that it's definitely lopsided, I would imagine.
Yeah, and you are, I am saying this on the recording, you are not allowed to do Erzsébet Bathory. You are not allowed to do Elizabeth Bathory.
Literally no chance of me doing that, so you're alright.
Good, because I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
So I'm good. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay,
so because I do listen to all our like episodes eventually, but sometimes I get behind and I'm still scarred from when I did the one you'd already done. And I was like, no.
I have created a spreadsheet that has all of our episode titles and keywords for it that we can search. So
thank God. I want all of y'all to know that Rob is the podcast and I sometimes guess. I'm like the whack. I'm like a Keebler elf he keeps in a press, and then I like he like lets me, he like has me on for like giggles sometimes. Like he is the adult and I am a toddler that needs a helmet because they keep walking into tables.
Because you're
like that.
So you're allowed to do your podcasting and then you go back in the press.
Yes. Only not. I'm not with a toaster.
No, absolutely not.
That was for our Irish listeners.
Don't explain it either.
Nope, not going to. So yeah, there's some really interesting conversations going on. Now let's move on to some. This title, I love the title. They said like, this is my theory. Brackets. It's not sexy.
My best type of theory.
So yeah. I love it when my theories are completely just neutral in terms of attraction. So their theory is that the Dan figure, the Dan Cooper, the DB Cooper, they died the same night as the jump.
Okay.
And that their breakdown is they think that that they were older than a lot of the quote sexy suspects in this case, which I think says something more about the person.
Yeah. Maybe keep an eye on who wrote that.
Because I'm like, deleted.
Oh,
deleted
damn.
account. We don't know. Yeah, they are.
It was DB himself.
We don't know what they're doing. Yeah, DB, what does it stand for? Dead ass bitch.
There you go. Solved.
Oh, no. Oh, God, sorry. It was right there. Dump truck bitch. Dump truck booty. Oh, my God. Sorry. Kick me off.
Dump truck booty Cooper.
Dump truck booty Cooper. Okay, well, that's now canon.
That's going on a shirt.
Oh, yeah. And, like, you know what? Now I'm thinking it was a conspiracy because if he jumped, them ass cheeks would have been clapping so loud that, like, somebody
there would have been a mushroom cloud.
He was so dummy thick that there's no way he could be dead. Because that cushion just, like, bounced him on the ground.
Yeah, someone said, I didn't realize they'd opened a bakery in the area. Because all I can smell is cake.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Tom Cruise in that one image of that film where they're like, why is Tom Cruise so caked up in this? Oh, God, okay. Yep, dump truck booty Cooper. Yeah, so they believe that in terms of jumping up expertise, since he chose an older model of chutes, this backs up their theory that he was older than the quote sexy suspects. So like they think that he would have had experience from like a Vietnam era military, a Korea era military, rather than like, than a later one. And so they think that he would have been 18 or 19, who may have even jumped into France in 1944.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So they think he's, like, quite a bit older.
That's definitely a turn that I was not expecting. It kind of makes sense, though.
And it's interesting. And they said that in terms of skin color, they think that that apparently every witness described him as having darker olive-toned skin and being what they believe to be of Mexican or Native American descent. So their theory is that it was essentially a disgruntled Native American or Mexican World War II or Korean vet from the U.S., like from somewhere in the Americas. That's what happened.
Interesting. I don't know if it has legs.
And that they did die. Yeah. Well, we know it has an ass.
Sure. It's got them cheeks.
So, it does. So, we've gone over some... I'm so sorry. I'm looking at the time, and I'm so sorry this is so long. I really did mean for this to be short. So, I apologize. If y'all are still here, like, please check your mental health. Okay. So, So then I found some other really interesting theories, but I'm not going to go into them because I really want to I don't want this to be too long, and I really want to get into some of the media that's emerged around DB Cooper.
Okay.
So I would like to introduce you to sorry, this ties in. This is the last theory. It's kind of a shit post, but it was like this person on the DB Cooper subreddit said, what if DB Cooper survived and spent the $200,000 on creating a company named IMDb?
Oh shit.
I am dumb for booty. Which I thought was fucking brilliant.
That
Good
is
job.
phenomenal.
Yep. So this leads us on to media. This leads us on to the IMDb website. So there is actually a recent TV miniseries that was put on Netflix about DB Cooper. It's called DB Cooper, Where Are You? And apparently I have not watched it, but people do not rate it.
I'm shocked.
Like people do not like it at least on the subreddit. Okay. They do not like it. It's got it's not greatly rated on IMDb. It's got 5.4 out of 10 stars.
Okay, that's enough for me to watch.
But we're fundamentally
it doesn't say much about me, but it's.
So there's that one. But I want to talk about this piece of media that I stumbled across in a really weird way. So I was like, this is bringing us back to the beginning. I will put on like some YouTube commentators on like really random, unimportant, low stakes, funny shit in the background while I work because I'm not crazy. Well, not like that. And one of them was a video, I believe, by Ted Nivison, and he mentioned a director. He was talking about a director in a particular film, but then he mentioned that this was another film by the director. And the director's name is David DeCocteau.
Okay.
David Cocteau. Yeah. It is called B.D. Cooper versus Bigfoot. Sorry, I had that backwards. Bigfoot versus DB Cooper. I want to be right here.
I'm googling this immediately.
No, Rob, I'm about to take you through
no,
this.
I more just wanted to see the fucking film art. Take me through it, please.
Yep. So, what's interesting is that the tagline is, now the truth can be told. The story is essentially that several young hunters arrive at a secluded lodge in the Pacific Northwest. Little do they know that they will become the hunted.
Okay.
I've actually found it kind of difficult to find like further information on it. It's kind of an almost lost media-ish.
Okay.
It's not lost. You can get to it, but it is not. Anyway, I'll keep going. I do have more information, but it's not as easy as you think to find. It has in it Eric Roberts.
That is a shockingly big name for.
Oh yeah. So it also has Linnea Quigley, who I don't know if you know them, but they were in like The Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Demons, like a lot of horror media. Yeah, like I was like, if you see her, you'll know.
Damn.
She's got like excellent 80s feathered hair. But so the film is from 2014, I believe. And to describe the cover art, there is like a figure that is clearly meant to be DB Cooper, who is holding what we know now is a cheap attaché case and a shotgun. And behind him is a monstrously tall, vicious, blood-covered Bigfoot. And behind that is the full moon, and flying across it is like a military plane that's dropping what I can only assume to be like the money that DB Cooper was supposed to. Either that or it's bombs. You can't tell. So this is so I'm drawing this from a review written by ML Miller Writes on their site, and they were saying that so what if Cooper, as he escaped over the vast forests of Washington, found himself in the path of the legendary Bigfoot?
I am sold on this completely.
Yeah. So the film apparently begins with 10-minute chore of and this is where it's going to take a bit of a left. So it's just a scene of a kid walking toward the camera over and over, set to repetitive synth music. The kid arrives home, and as he approaches the door, 5 young men, all shirtless and oiled, answer the door and invite the wandering lad in.
This checks out.
Essentially what I'm trying to tell you is, so basically the plot is kind of irrelevant because essentially this veers dangerously close to what I understand is softcore porn.
Look, as someone who's watched The Room more than once, I am familiar with the need to have needlessly long scenes and unnecessary scenes in films. So this track so far, I'm fine with this.
Apparently you can find it on Tubi, but so Miller says, quote, "This is cheesecake for gay men and maybe a few desperate women."
I'm in. I've literally just looked at the film art there, and that has completely sold me.
Like, the film art is incredible. Like, I can guarantee I've watched worse.
Yeah.
So
there's I just looked it up on Letterboxd there. The number one review says there's a pre-credit scene of a dude walking shirtless through the woods, and it lasts for 11 minutes. Then there's a scene of dudes taking turns getting shirtless and pretending to fire rifles, and it lasts for 24 minutes.
Oh my god, that is.
We're gonna have to watch this, Suz.
Oh hell yeah! Rob, I want to know how soft is the core of
I'd say pretty soft. I'd say everyone is pretty soft after watching this.
I was like, is it just shirtless young men? Because like that's fine, but I don't want to see Bigfoot fuck DB Cooper. I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that either. But my suggestion would be that we sit down to watch this and drink as we watch it.
Well, yeah, you got me there.
I knew I would.
Yeah. So anyway, that is the wild and wacky adventure that we've gone through on DB Cooper. And no, it is in no way thorough. No, is it in any way informative. It just is, and I hope you had a good time.
I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of this. I was not expecting a battle with Bigfoot to be the ending of this.
The pièce de résistance.
Really kind of like swung away there that I wasn't expecting, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of a white whale of the kind of mystery community, and I thought I could take it really seriously and do a lot of in-depth research that loads of other people have done, and probably better than me because they have more time and energy and interest. Or I could do what I did, and
do what you did is my agreement there as well. The perfect. No notes.
Like I think occasionally I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna take like a huge topic. Like I'm gonna be like, so today we're gonna talk about.
I was literally just about to say the Enfield haunting.
And then that is kind of our white whale.
Yeah, I think we've agreed in the past that if we do the Enfield haunting, it's gonna be as part of a special episode where we both present on it.
Yes, and it's gonna be a much kind of more like serious tone in terms of
probably
discussion.
With guests. So and anyone who's still listening now, if you'd like to be a guest, let us know.
So yeah, I hope this started off your weekend correctly.
Oh, I'm sure it did. It absolutely did. People are gonna love this.
I hope so. So I really did think, like, I was like, this will be like a 20-minute episode. I'm so sorry. In my head, I was thinking, like, I'm gonna have to apologize, and I am so sorry that actually we're over an hour, and I'm actually glad that we're not doing our normal double feature recording.
Oh yeah, sure. Look, you never know with the edit.
Yeah, it could be 15 minutes long. We don't know. It could just start. It could start and end with Bigfoot versus DB Cooper.
I wouldn't be mad about that. Could you imagine if that was just the episode? 10 minutes of us talking about softcore porn.
Oh god. I mean, our listeners would probably be like,
They'd literally just be like, yeah, that tracks.
They'll be like, I know who they are, and I know what they do, and I know who I am for listening to them.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, well, I enjoyed this one. Thank you very much. This has been a fun, wild ride.
Yeah, no problem. Speaking of, like, let them know where they can find us on the socials and
you can get us on social media. You can get us on Instagram and Threads at the Spooky F Pod. You can get us on YouTube when this episode goes up. The comments are there. Please do use them respectfully.
Oh god, we have a YouTube.
And you can get us on Gmail at the spookyfpodcast@gmail.com. So lots of places. Would love to hear your thoughts on this one. I myself would love to hear of anyone who's watched this film. Let us know.
Oh yeah, if we can get a film review from a listener,
there has to be at least one of you that's degenerate enough as myself and Suz to have watched this.
And if you have any other films like in a similar vein, like not softcore porn, but like in the ridiculousness of Bigfoot versus DB Cooper, like if you can give me 2 cryptids fighting or something, like please sign me up. So
the classic one being Alien versus Predator, obviously.
Yeah, that's the stuff. That's the gold standard.
Amazing.
I've seen that, Rob.
We would have had a conversation after recording had you not seen that.
A xenomorph is the woman I want to become.
Damn. Do you know what? I respect that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So with that, we'll sign off. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other, but take no shit.
Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.